Hi and welcome to Love Doing Yoga. An hour later than usual, but thank you very much. I think Maureen is with us. So Maureen, thank you very much for making time to come at 7, and I know there's someone else with us as well. So anyway, apologies for the hour delay, but it's great to have a few of you with us here live this evening. Our theme this evening is reality. Because I think if you're like me, you might tend to fill in gaps on facts or on things that you don't have the facts for. So someone might say something to you and you'll suddenly imagine it to mean all sorts of things because you're filling in gaps where you're missing reality. Or maybe you catastrophize future events, or you worry about something that's going to happen in the future. None of which is reality. The reality is the here and the now. It's you sitting on your mat here at this moment in time. So let us dip in and out of, well, we won't dip in and out of reality because hopefully we'll be in reality for the entire hour, but we'll dip in and out of the theme. And as ever throughout the practice, listen to your body. Only do what feels right for you today. So we're going to start today seated. So sit whatever way you'll be comfortable for about 10 minutes or so. So you might like to sit like this in an easy pose with your legs crossed, or if you prefer, you can sit like this. If this is comfortable, whatever position will allow you to have a nice long spine and maintain that length for a period of time. So work with your own body in what feels right. And wherever you are in your seated position, just close your eyes and begin to move into the present moment. Moving into what is real right now. Letting go of your day, letting go of everything that's happening around you, letting go of any labels you put on yourself or that others put on you, and giving yourself permission to slow right down and be present and real in this moment. And whatever way you're seated, think about bringing absolute stillness to your body. Stillness to your feet. Stillness to your legs. Stillness to your hands and your arms. Stillness to your pelvis and your seat bones. Stillness to the length of your spine. Stillness to your head. And stillness to your mind. And from this point of stillness, just observe this small movement that comes from your breath. Become aware of the reality of this moment and of your breath. And taking your right finger, just place your index finger and middle finger on that point between your eyebrows. And with your right thumb just cover the right nostril. And breathe in and out through the left nostril. And then releasing that right nostril and just closing the left nostril with your ring finger. Breathing in and out through the right nostril. And now let's try a little bit of alternation between those two. So closing the right nostril, inhale through the left nostril. And then closing the left nostril, exhale through the right nostril. Inhale through the right, close it, exhale through the left, inhale through the left, close it, and exhale and inhale through the right. And changing, exhale, inhale to the left. And continue to just change that after each inhale and exhale for a few more breaths. And then when you're ready, just letting the hand come down, keeping the eyes closed, and just enjoy the stillness and calmness that developed from that breath. Becoming aware of the present moment, of what's real right now. You sitting on your mat, breathing. And taking 2 more breaths here. And then either with the eyes open or closed, just turning the head all the way to the left. Getting a nice stretch in the neck, keeping the chin parallel to the floor. And then nice and slowly, just turning your head all the way to the right. And again, as you get here, allowing that stretch to happen. Enjoying it. And coming back to the center, drawing a big arc with the nose up towards the ceiling. Allowing the front of the neck to stretch. And bowing the head all the way down to the floor, allowing the back of the neck to stretch. And coming back up to the center once again, turning the head all the way to the left. And bringing it all the way around, keeping that chin level with the floor, or parallel with the floor, turning it all the way to the right. And back to the center, raising the gaze to the ceiling. And bowing the head all the way down. Coming back up to center, drawing your shoulders up to your ears, pushing them back and dropping them down. And again, up and back and down. And again, up and back and down. And with the left arm, just making a huge big circle with that arm, going backwards all the way around. Good, 2 more times. And making that circle as big as you can, trying to let the arm sweep past the ear and come all the way down. Good. And then taking it in the opposite direction. So you're almost like you're swimming. The front crawl. 1 more time. And let's take it to the other arm. So doing the back stroke with this right arm. Getting lovely big circles, the full expanse. Really enjoying this. And then taking it in the opposite direction. All the time thinking about the spine being nice and long. Equal weight on both seat bones, sitting up nice and tall. Good. Bringing the arms out into a T. Let's just take a little twist to the left. And coming back to center, take it to the right. And to the center, to the left. And again, back to the right. And 1 more time on either side. Again, just really being aware of what you're doing, where you are, the reality of now. Letting the left hand come down onto the mat, and with the right hand drawing it up past the ear and into a nice bend, really allowing that whole right side of the body to stretch out, each rib cage opening out and stretching out. At the same time, just being aware of not allowing the left side to collapse. So we want to keep the shoulders in line with each other here and keep a little gap between the rib cage and the hip. Good. 1 more breath here. And then coming all the way over to the other side. Again, just think about breathing into that space you've created along that whole left side. One more breath here. And coming back to the center. Let's take a twist to the left, this time using the right arm on the left leg to give yourself a little bit of leverage, but really think about the chest leading here so that you're getting the whole upper body twisting. And when you're in your twist, inhale, lengthen and open out the spine, and then see when you exhale, can you get another millimeter into your twist? 2 more breaths here. And coming back to the center, just give your body a little moment to settle. Becoming aware of the reality of now, where you are on the mat. And taking that twist to the right. As I say hi to our newest patron, Karen, it's great to have you along. And hi to our patrons, Jamie, Angela, Thelma, Tanya, Loretto, and Rihanna. It's fantastic to have you as patrons. We really appreciate your support. And hopefully you'll get to hear this shout out. You'll have to do the Wednesday practice to get the shout out. And we'll be shouting out to more patrons on Friday. But do let us know what day you do your practice on, and we'll be sure to give you a shout out for that practice. One more breath here. And coming back to center again, just allowing the body to settle. And from here, making your way, if you've got a block, just put it over to one side. We're going to just lower the back down onto the mat. And we're going to lift into a bridge, but it's going to be a supported bridge. So using your hands to help your hips stay up. It's checking in, first of all, with the feet, that they're hip distance apart and they're pointing straight out in front of you. Nice bend in the knees. And then begin to lift the hips up. And as you lift them up, just let the hands come in underneath to help those hips come up nice and high. Let's take 3 breaths here. And then letting the hands come down and very slowly lowering the spine back down onto the mat. Good. Let's do that again. So peeling yourself away from the mat as you lift the whole center of your body up. And then just bringing those hands underneath you to help you keep those hips raised. One more breath. And letting the hands come away as you slowly lower yourself down onto the mat. Good. And then hugging the knees into the chest. Just having a little roll out here. Massaging the lower back. And letting the feet come down onto the mat. Lifting up the hips, just bringing your hands underneath the back of your pelvis. And lowering your pelvis down onto it, let your legs come out long. And we're going to lift up into a fish pose. So lifting the upper body up, draw the elbows in under the shoulders, and then drawing a little arc with the nose to let the head move back, just to where it's comfortable. One more breath here. Lifting the head up, let the elbows come out as you come all the way down, taking the hands out from under your pelvis and drawing the soles of your feet together. Let your knees just flop out to the side. Taking 3 more breaths here. Really zoning in on the reality of the present moment. This is what's real right now. You on your mat, in this position, breathing. those knees come together, the feet come onto the mat, just rolling over onto your belly, lying out nice and long with the arms out in front of you and the forehead on the mat for a nice full body stretch. Taking one more breath here. And drawing those elbows back beside your chest. Forearms out in front of you, opening the fingers out nice and wide and just lifting up into your Sphinx pose. Looking in front of you, enjoying that nice gentle back bend. Two more breaths here. And from here, just coming up onto your knees, letting the forehead come onto the mat as you come into a puppy dog pose. Really allowing the spine to lengthen out here. And taking two more breaths. And moving on to all fours and pushing back into a child's pose. Two more breaths here. And coming up onto all fours, curling those toes, pushing the hips back, lifting the knees into your downward dog. Taking it easy to pedal your way in, nice and slowly. And excuse Alan sneezing. Good. And when you're ready, coming to stillness, wherever that stillness feels right for you. Letting the gaze go towards the belly button, the spine nice and long, broadening out the shoulders so they're away from the ears. And then walking the feet up to the hands, bending the knees, and coming all the way up to stand. Good. I'm just going to take it to the top of the mat here, as we do a couple of sun salutes to get ourselves fully moving and mobile. So, with your feet hip width apart, standing up nice and tall, thinking about equal weight in both feet. Reaching the arms up. Good. Let's sweep them out to the side and come into your forward fold, bending your knees as much as you need to as you go. And coming up halfway, being really aware of your spine here, keeping it nice and long. And forward fold again. Let's step the right leg back, dropping the knee, open the foot for your low lunge, raising the arms up. Good. And hands down either side of the foot to step it out into your plank. Taking a breath here. Fingers open nice and wide, little micro bend in the elbows. And coming down on knees. Feet, elbows in as the chest comes to the ground first and then the belly. That can be tricky for some people. And into your back bend. Pushing up here through tabletop into your downward dog. Great. Let's get that right foot up to the top of the mat. So stepping it through or stepping it to wherever it goes and helping it the rest of the way. Dropping that knee for your low lunge. And
stepping that left foot up to meet the right in your forward fold, bending the knees.
Coming all the way up. Good. Let's take that on the other side. Sweeping the arms
out into your forward fold. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Let's get that left leg back.
For your low lunge.
And flowing through to your plank. Coming down on your knees, feet, chest, belly, and rising into your back bend. Pushing through tabletop to your downward dog. And let's get the left foot up to the top of the mat. Again, whatever way works for you, dropping that right knee. Low lunge. And stepping it up to the top of the mat, bending the knees.
Coming all the way up and bringing those hands into prayer. Good. So hopefully you're feeling a little bit more mobile and supple after that. And from here, with your hands on your hips, we're going to step the left leg back and bring the left leg in line with the right. So the left heel in line with the right heel. So we've got a nice straight line running here, or if it feels a little better, from the arch of your foot to your heel. So whichever feels best. Think about just pushing a little bit of weight into the outside edge of that back foot so that your torso stays in the center, your center of gravity stays, excuse me, in the center. And you're not putting extra weight on this front leg. So evenly distributing your weight, turning your gaze to the top of the mat, raising the arms up into a T and just looking out over that right hand. And now check in with your reality. Where are you now? Checking in with your shape, where you are on your mat, your breathing. Good. Bending this right arm. Let's just take it forward to rest this right arm on the right thigh and draw the left arm all the way up past your ear if you can. So if this is uncomfortable for you, point the hands up towards the ceiling, or maybe put the hand on the hip. What we really want to do is keep this chest nice and open, shoulders stacked on top of each other. So if you're compromising that by getting your arm up past your ear, if you're having to drop the shoulder, then you're losing the effectiveness, or reducing the effectiveness of the pose. So much better to keep the hand on the hip and have the chest open, if that feels better. One more breath here. And bringing this left hand down, let's just draw the right hand up, watching the palm as we draw it over our head for a nice reverse warrior. Good. One more breath here. And coming upright. Again, just think of pressing a little bit of weight into that outside foot. With your hands on your hips, just step that left foot up to meet the right. Good. Let's do that on the other side. So the right foot steps back and comes in line, the heels in line with each other, or the arch of the foot in line with the heel of the front foot. Having this left knee over the left ankle. Every so often, just glance down to see, can you see your big toe and maybe your second toe? Because what happens to your knee here, sometimes it gets a little bit overexcited and it starts to fall inwards. That's putting pressure on your ankle and on your knee. So you need to just keep an eye on it, that it's staying nice and stable. Raising those arms up into a T, just putting a little bit of weight into the outside edge of that back foot so you can keep your weight central here. Softening the shoulders. Taking 3 breaths. Good. Bending that left arm, coming down onto the left thigh and raising that right arm up to wherever feels right for you to keep that chest nice and open and the shoulders stacked on top of each other. So past your ear or pointing up to the ceiling or on your hip. Taking 2 more breaths here. Again, thinking of a little bit of weight into that outside edge of your back foot. And drawing the right arm down, lifting the body up, drawing that palm upwards, following it with your gaze for a nice reverse warrior. Good. And coming upright. Just putting your hands on your hips. We're going to step this right leg across and let it face towards the front. So now our hips are square and facing the top of the mat. And bending forward over this front leg, let the hands come down as we step back into a downward dog. So we're going to work a little bit with having the hips square, so face on to the front of the mat, and having them open, so the heels in line with each other. So we'll be swapping between those two a little bit. So hopefully I won't get you completely mixed up. Let's get that right leg, stretching it up behind you, stepping it forward, bending that right knee, and coming into a runner's lunge here. Looking in front of you, having nice length in your spine and in your leg. Good. And then pressing into the mat, lifting up to a warrior one, keeping those hips square. Good. From here, bringing the arms into a T, we're going to move this left foot across. So we're in our warrior two, our heels are in line. Everything's open. Bending this right arm, coming into that extended angle pose. Coming back up to your warrior two. Raising both arms up and stepping that left leg across. And hands down either side of the foot, stepping back into a downward dog. Let's try that on the other side. So the left leg lifted up in the air and step it through, helping it on the way as much as you need to, letting that back heel come up off the floor as your shoulders come in front of the knee, nice long spine. And from here, rising up, if you need to bring this back leg in a little bit, do. Keeping this front knee bent, squaring the hips for your warrior one. Good, letting those arms come out to the side, moving this right leg across so the heels are in line with each other for your warrior two. Bending the elbow, drawing the arm up for your extended side angle. Coming back up to warrior two, turning the shoulders, stepping the right foot across, squaring the hips with the front of the mat for your warrior one, and bending forward to step back into your downward dog. Good, let's try that one more time on each side. It's a dancing warrior flow. So, with the right leg, stretching it out, stepping it forward, coming into your runner's lunge, back heel off the mat. Lifting up to your warrior one, square hips. Bringing the arms out into a T, stepping the back foot across for your warrior two. Bending the elbow, drawing the arm up past the ear for your side angle. Coming back to your warrior two. And raising both arms up, just turning the body, stepping the leg across for warrior one. Bending from the hips, hands down, to step back into your downward dog. Great stuff. Let's do it on the other side. Left leg lifts up, stretching it out, and step it forward. In your runner's lunge, that left knee over left ankle. And lifting the body up, trying to get the heel onto the mat if you can, for your warrior one. Good, nice and square with those hips. And bringing the arms into a T, stepping that right foot across so the heels are in line for warrior two. Bending the left elbow, bringing it onto the thigh, and right arm up past the ear for your extended side angle. Coming back up to your warrior two, raising the arms up, just turning the upper body, stepping the leg across for warrior one. Hands down as you bend forward and step back into your downward dog. Bending those knees, coming down onto the mat, feet together, knees apart, and come into a rest. Checking in with yourself, becoming aware of the reality of yourself on the mat. Watching yourself breathing and being in control of the now. In control of your body, in control of your breath, and in control of your thoughts, directing your thoughts to the reality of now. Two more breaths here. And coming up onto all fours, curling those toes, pushing the hips back to come into your downward dog. And walking those feet forward into a forward fold, bending the knees, coming all the way up to stand with your hands in prayer. Taking a moment here. Becoming aware of your feet, where they are on the mat. Hip width apart, pointing to the front. Equal weight on both feet. And weight spread evenly across your feet. Bringing your hands onto your hips, just stepping that right leg back on its railway track. Squaring up the hips. Checking in with that left knee, that it's over the left ankle. Putting a little bit of weight into the outside edge of that right foot. Lifting the arms up for your warrior one. Letting the gaze come up to the ceiling. So you're getting a nice back bend in your full warrior one. Softening the shoulders. Keeping the hips square. Good. And bending forward from the hips, letting the hands come down either side of the foot. Keeping a bend in that left knee. And we're going to just, keeping the hands on the floor, step the right foot up to the left, to meet the left. And begin to bring a little bit of straightness into those legs as you remain in forward fold. So no matter how straight you get them, always have a little micro bend there. We don't want to lock the knees. And we're going to lift up into a warrior three here. So that's where you're standing on your left leg with your right leg up. So you might find it easier to have the left foot on the floor, lift the right leg up while your arms are here, and then lift your hands up off the mat. Or you may find it easier to stand up, become evenly balanced on both legs, and then bend forward and lift the leg up from standing. So usually you'll find it easier to do it one way or the other. And from here you can have the hands in prayer, or you might want to let them come out in front of you, having the gaze on the mat, on the floor. Good, one more breath. And bringing that right leg back to meet the left, coming into a forward fold. Bending the knees, stepping all the way up. Checking in, ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips. Becoming aware of the here and the now. And let's step this left leg straight back on a railway track. Squaring up the hips, checking in with that right foot, or that right leg, that the knee is over the ankle. A little bit of weight into the outside edge of the left foot. Raising those arms up and again, raising the gaze here. Softening the shoulders, releasing any tension in the jaw. Good, one more breath. And bending forward from the hips, letting the hands come down either side of that right foot. Stepping the left foot up beside it. Coming into a full forward fold. And shifting the weight into that right foot again. Coming into this pose, whichever way works best for you. So from forward fold up into it, or from standing up down into it, if that makes sense. Finding a balance, gaze on the floor, toes pointing, left toes pointing to the mat. Good, you can let the arms come out in front of you. One more breath here. And letting the hands come down on the mat, let the left leg come forward as you come into a forward fold.
Bending the knees, making your way all the way down onto the mat and all the way down to sit. Sitting up tall here, checking in. Equal weight on both seat bones, ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips. You can bend your knees here if it's uncomfortable to sit like this. And we're going to come into a forward fold. So thinking about bending from the hips, the chest moving towards the thighs here. Have your knees as bent as you need to. We want to keep that spine nice and long. You might find it easier to keep the hands by your sides or either side of the knee so that the spine, the back stays really long here. And think about the length of that spine moving from your seat bones all the way up the spine, through the neck to the crown of the head. The whole way up. And then when you're in your forward fold, you might want to just let the legs open out a little bit more. And a little bit more. Taking 2 more breaths here. And moving your way back up to sit. Good. Bringing your left foot up towards your right thigh and lifting up that right leg. Let's just hold on to it like it's a baby, cradle pose. So your right hand is holding on to the outside edge of your thigh, your left hand holding on to the outside of your foot, and just gently rocking that leg just to help ease out any tension points, any tightness here. If you want to make this pose stronger, you can just lift that foot up slightly higher so you're getting a straight line from your shin, from your ankle to your knee. And gently moving the leg. Good. And then letting that leg come down. Let's just move that to the other side. So lifting up the left leg again, depending on your body, work with it to the point that feels right for you. And just giving it a nice, easy rock. And letting it down. Letting both feet come out in front of you as you just hug your shins, allowing the spine to round here. Checking in with the reality of now. And unrolling yourself, lowering your back down onto the mat. And let those knees fall over to the right. Bringing your arms out into a T and turning your gaze to the left. If you have the space, you might want to let those legs come out straight to the right. And just scanning the body to release out any tension, particularly in the jaws or the shoulders or the hips, any of the joints. And then when you're ready, bending those knees, coming back to the center and letting them come over to the other side. releasing out all of your tensions. Two more breaths here. And bending those knees if the legs are straight, coming back to the mat. Letting the palms, your arms come down by your sides, your palms facing upwards, and the legs open out long for your final resting pose of Shavasana. And thank you so much for joining me for this practice. I hope you enjoyed it. And that you can join us again soon. We will be back at our normal time of 6 o'clock on Friday. So it will be great to have you along for that, or at whenever suits you to catch up on the practice. And take a little moment here, a little time for gratitude of your own reality, of where you are on the mat. Gratitude for your breath. Gratitude for this time. And gratitude to yourself. And I'm going to bring you through some points of your body. And as I do this, just let your attention rest on that point for a few moments. Mentally repeat the point on which you're focused. Maybe become sensitive to a feeling of warmth or tingling. You can breathe into each point, inhaling with awareness into that point, and as you exhale, gently saying that point to yourself. Just giving yourself over to the reality of the now. The point between your eyebrows, the hollow of your throat, your right shoulder joint, right elbow joint, right wrist joint, tip of the right thumb, tip of your right index finger, tip of your right middle finger, tip of your right ring finger, tip of your right little finger, right wrist joint, right elbow joint, right shoulder joint, hollow of the throat. Left shoulder joint, left elbow joint, left wrist joint, tip of the left thumb, tip of the left index finger, tip of the left middle finger, tip of the left ring finger, tip of the left little finger, left wrist joint, left elbow joint, left shoulder joint, hollow of the throat, heart center, right chest, heart center, left chest,
heart center, your navel, the base of your spine, your right hip joint, right knee joint, right ankle joint, tip of your right big toe, tip of the right second toe, tip of your right third toe, tip of your right fourth toe, tip of your right little toe, right ankle joint, right knee joint, right hip joint, base of your spine, left hip joint, left knee joint, left ankle joint, tip of the left big toe, tip of your second toe, tip of your third toe, tip of your fourth toe, tip of your left little toe, left ankle joint, left knee joint, left hip joint, base of your spine, navel, heart center, hollow of your throat, the point between your eyebrows.